Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's show. My name is Spencer Walsh. We are back for another episode of News Flash here today. Rudy Giuliani says Trump would not have to comply with a Mueller subpoena potentially. That raises a interesting possibility. The Trump team makes the midterms about saving his presidency, not really about taxes like the GOP wants. Like a little struggle there. And the Pennsylvania primary is pitting a one-time Trump Democrat against a Bernie Sanders and Emmys list. So, it'll be very interesting to see who comes out on top of that one. We'll give you the lowdown on that one too, because that should be very, very interesting there. So, anyway, Rudy Giuliani, he has had a rough couple of weeks, and right now it looks like he's trying to make it worse. He's ruling for, it's pretty much been a very chaotic first week as Trump's lawyer. He tried again on Sunday to straighten out his client's story. Giuliani raised new questions about whether Trump had paid hush money to other women, and suggests the president might invoke the Fifth Amendment to avoid testifying in the special counsel in Russia's investigation. Giuliani also said Trump, as we know, would not have to comply with Mueller's subpoena. Giuliani is a former, as you know, federal prosecutor in New York City, mayor hired by Trump to smooth communication between the White House and the special counsel Robert Mueller III, and instead painted Mr. Mueller as an out-of-control prosecutor bent on trapping Trump into committing perjury. The president said could defy a subpoena to testify, so that's up to him. He said, we don't have to, Giuliani said. He's the president of the United States. We can assert the same privileges other presidents have. He says in this to Georgie Stephanopoulos in ABC's This Week. Giuliani, who met with the special counsel's office shortly after joining the legal team last month, said he and another lawyer, Jay Sekulow, agreed the president could not speak to Mr. Mueller, but he also acknowledged that he had little, if any, control over the president, who said recently as Friday he still wanted to speak to the special counsel. How can I ever be confident of that? Giuliani said when asked whether Trump would not invoke the right to avoid self-incrimination. I'm facing a situation where the president and all other lawyers are, in which every lawyer in America thinks he would be a fool to testify, and I've got a client who wants to testify. So, yeah, he's got this kind of tough situation there, and it just shows you, I mean, I'm sorry, Trump's Trump, and that's just kind of how it's going to work. So, I mean, again, it's going to be very interesting to see it's really interesting right now to see the back and forth that's going on in the legal team and how chaotic this is and how this would really never happen with any other president or any other celebrity going through a similar situation ever. So just this general disorganization, chaotic nature of this legal team here, it's quite the blowback. It's quite surprising, actually, that we were able to see this and that we were able to witness this so up front, up close, and up personal. And Rudy Giuliani, by the way, should really stop doing some television interviews, and let's just leave it a mystery. Like I think it'd be all right if we just got to leave it a mystery. But the point is, there is really such a bad side to what's going on here, and just such a cynicism put forth here by the Trump team. So it was really one of several startling omissions by Giuliani during the first extended television appearance since Trump criticized him last week about not having his facts straight about payments he made to Stephanie Clifford or Stormy Daniels. Giuliani said it was possible that Trump's personal attorney, Cohen, had made the payments to other women on the president's behalf. I have no knowledge of that, but if I think it would be necessary, yes. But would I think if it was necessary, yes, that's what he said about the other payments, possible other payments. If Trump were to invoke the Fifth Amendment, he would undercut his long-standing claim he has nothing to hide about his campaign's ties to Russia. And again, mark my words, that would not stop him from doing anything. He does not care about what he says previously. He just cares about again, as we know, saving himself, which is also pretty interesting. During the presidential campaign, he ridiculed Democratic opponent Hillary Clinton when some of her aides invoked the Fifth Amendment during a congressional investigation of Miss Clinton's use of the private email server, saying the mob takes the Fifth. If you're innocent, why are you taking the Fifth Amendment? Yeah, Trump, why are you taking the Fifth Amendment? So big tongue click there. After the interview, Giuliani met with Trump at his golf club in Northern Virginia. Giuliani told ABC anchor George Stephanopoulos that he was still getting up to speed in Trump's legal issues. In fact, it became apparent as the interview went on. He's still, after a week, maybe you stop. Maybe you don't send the lawyer who's apparently not up to speed on the legal issues. Well, the point is, Rudy Giuliani is just senile, and that's pretty much why he's not up to speed yet. It's gonna take him a while because he's a senile, crazy old man that belongs in some like old person's home with like Henry Kissinger and just should stay there. It's really disturbing that he's being like, if I was the Trump administration, say, you know what, you don't have to fire Rudy Giuliani because it's very funny to go out and see him talk, but at least get him up to speed and at least tell him what to say every time he goes on TV. So like, because he obviously is having a little bit something's not right there. Like, can we just talk about that? So. After the interview, Giuliani met with Trump again, as we know, at the golf club in North Virginia. As a case, as was the case during interviews, Giuliani seemed largely off the cuff. He speculated freely and contradicted himself, sometimes from one statement to the next. And boy, I didn't see that interview, but I would love to have been watching it. It would have been mind meld. It would have been crazy. He said, for example, that Mueller would be to blame if Trump refused to testify because his office had leaked a list of questions and the special counsel would like to ask them, but he then admitted he did not know who leaked the questions, which was reported already by the New York Times, and it was someone outside the Trump team. Maybe it was even him. Who knows? Giuliani referred repeatedly to a judge's criticism of the special counsel's case against Paul Manafort, the former chairman of the Trump campaign. The judge, T.S. Ellis III, said on Friday that the case seemed motivated by a desire to get Manafort to potentially incriminate Mr. Trump. So there's no question that the amount of government misconduct is accumulating. Very embarrassing to my former Justice Department, Giuliani said. Well, okay. If you want to see something embarrassing, can we examine Exhibit A as your public statements in the past couple of days, since Tuesday or wherever you said the thing you said on Fox News about Stormy Daniels. Like, this media tour for you, Rudy Giuliani, has been a disaster. Like, honestly, kind of own the president apology, because this is bad. This is some bad stuff here. I'm telling you, bud. Jeez. Whew. Yeah, so... Yeah, Giuliani created a furor on Wednesday when he contradicted the president about payment to Stephanie Clifford. Speaking on Fox News, Giuliani said Trump reimbursed Cohen for a $130,000 payment that Cohen has said he made to Clifford to keep her away from making a public story about an affair she claimed she had when with Mr. Trump. On Sunday, Giuliani said he was still trying to establish that when Trump learned that Cohen paid Clifford, but he added that as a legal matter, but it did not matter that the payment did not. But it did not matter the payment at all because it did not violate campaign finance rules or any of the campaign finance regulations that have been established. So, asked about the discrepancies between his account and the president's statement, Giuliani said that doesn't amount to anything. That's what's said to the press. So don't be political. He said to George Stephanopoulos, don't be political. Giuliani said did not really shed much new light on the nature of payments themselves. He said Cohen made payments for the president, or he conducted business for the president, which means he had legal fees, monies laid out, and expenditures. But he criticized the sum Clifford received as a nuisance payment. I never thought $130,000 was a real payment, Giuliani said. People don't go away for $130,000. So, whoa. It does seem it does seem like it's not that much money to pay someone who you want to go away. It really doesn't seem like it's like, because you hear in the movies I'll pay like $1,000,000 to go away. Like I'm watching the show Narcos right now, and there's a lot more than $130,000 throwing around. So I mean, he makes a very interesting point for our speculative minds to run wild. And I mean, honestly, what's stopping us here at this point? Because there is so much interesting stuff to come of this, and that's going to be very interesting for down the road. Yeah, like, so what crazy thing will he say next? That's the question. That is the question. Nobody knows. Nobody can possibly guess. So, yeah, we will be looking very interestingly in on that front. Coming up next, we're going to take a quick 45-second break, and then we will examine the story in Pennsylvania about a primary pitting a one-time Trump Democrat against Bernie Sanders and Emily's List. Then we'll get to a hilarious story. We've had a little bit of a change. We're going to get to a pretty good story about someone by the name of in a brand by the name of InfoWars, someone by the name of the Socialist Sailor, and a InfoWars reporter that just is too good to pass up. Anyway, I do want to get to a little bit more here. I do want to get a little bit more on this story surrounding Rudy Giuliani. So pretty much in the end, he says it's a nuisance repayment, which a nuisance payment, I find that to be very interesting. Giuliani also accused Clifford of trying to make as much money as she possibly can for her notoriety. I mean, who wouldn't? I mean, again, that's not an entirely sensible claim. And another one who's making a lot of money out of this whole situation is Michael Avenatti. He's on MSNBC every single solitary time. He wants a TV job. He's most likely going to get it just because of this incredibly fragile state, morally and ethically, of television and who they're willing to settle for good reporters and entertainers. So, I mean, Michael Avenatti is really going to get the win from this one, which kind of bothers me because I don't really like him. But, yeah, Giuliani's admission on Wednesday caught the Trump staff off guard and prompted Trump to clarify the nature of payments he made to Cohen. The morning after Giuliani's comments, Trump said on Twitter that Cohen received a monthly retainer not from the campaign and having nothing to do with the campaign, from which he entered into through reimbursement, a private contract between two parties known as a non-disclosure agreement, or NDA. So this was the official statement there from the Trump campaign about how he was paid off monthly in little installments until he got to the $130,000 amount. So a day later, he told reporters gathered outside the White House that Giuliani did not know the particulars of the case, even after Giuliani told the Times on Wednesday that he had spoken with the president before and after his interviews on Fox News. After his interview on Fox News, that Trump and other lawyers on the team were aware of what he would say. Virtually everything said has been correct, and it's been wrong. And it's been virtually everything said has been incorrectly. Virtually everything has been said incorrectly, and it's been wrong, or it's been covered wrong with the press. Trump said on Friday. Oh, I thought you were talking about Rudy Giuliani. I didn't know you were talking about the press, but yeah, he'll get his facts straight. But every single little thing he says, it's like some sort of extra little clarification, some other little thing needed, and it's really quite embarrassing. It's really quite poor. That he has decided to come in and do this in the way he has. He's really, Giuliani messed it up, and that's the theme. Rudy Giuliani, you are an F-up of royal proportions. So, happy Monday, Rudy Giuliani. Good thing you know that. All right, now we're going to take a quick break. Next, we'll go to the Pennsylvania primary story. All right.